Good morning, everyone. So now it's time to start our lesson. So this is the first video session that you will study on your Tuesday class. And in the video lesson, you are going to study listenings to the new two. Alright, from the previous video lesson, you already studied some of the important concept of the listening strategy, which is the focus on the sound. When you listen to the foreigner, you need to focus on the sound. And do you remember the sound that we studied earlier? Very good. In the previous video lesson, you studied the short A sound. Very good. So in today's lesson, we will continue our listenings to the new two. And in the video lesson, you are going to study a skill, which is the summary skill. Alright, so the lesson on your books, and you can find this lesson on page 25. If you open your book to page 25, at the bottom of the course book, you will see one type of exercise, which is the summary sections. So now to understand, so to fully understand what summary is, you need to understand two important concepts. So the first one is summarizing here, and the second one is paraphrasing. The exercise in your listenings to the new book mostly appear in the IL listening exercise section as well. I hope you're familiar with the IL exam or IL test. So in the IL listening exercise, there is one section which is the summary section, and in that sections you will asked to write down the word to complete a sentence, the same way as in your book. So to understand and be able to do those exercise, you need to understand two important concepts. The first one is summary or summarizing. The second one is paraphrasing. So everyone, let's start with paraphrasing, because paraphrasing is not the main focus for the lesson today, but just to get some idea. So paraphrasing meaning that you copy other people idea or other people writing. Let's say you see the writing or the paragraph on the internet, and you want to use that paragraph in your writing as well. But instead of copy and paste those paragraphs, you need to rewrite that paragraph again in a different way, using a different word, but it has the same meaning. You need to keep the same meaning, okay? So you can change the sentence structure, you can change the word, you can use synonym, you can use antonym. So make sure it is different from the original one. Again, in your listening activity, in the summary section, you will see something totally different from what you hear, but that is just the paraphrase of the original speaking. So that's it for the paraphrasing. Let's start with the summarizing. So summarizing, which is the act of summary. So what is summary? So here, if you do some research and you type the question what is summary or the definition of the summary, you can see this result. So the interesting things about this is the definition, which is a brief statement, which means a short statement or account for the main point of something. Imagine if you are doing a listening activity and the listening lasts for, like, let's say 5 minutes, and then you can see only 3 or 4 sentences, which is the summary of those speech. So summary is a main idea, and it is the short versions one. Okay, so how to do the summary? Even though in this video it is not about to make summary, but the focus here is that how to do the summary exercise session in your book. As you can see, they give you a short paragraph and ask you to supply the keyword. So in the listening activity, what should you do with this type of exercise? Okay, I come up with 3 personal tip that I always use. So I am going to share with you in case you need it. In the future, you might need it. So there are 3 tips here. So the first one, read this carefully everyone. You should first look at the sentences and try to understand the general meaning. So don't just wait for the listening to start. You need to read through the materials. For example, in this case, in your book, you need to read the paragraph first in order to understand the general meanings of what it is about. So the second one, remember that the sentences are just paraphrase. Okay, so don't try to listen for the exact sentence. Make sure you get the meaning from the listening. Getting the meaning is very important because you will not hear the exact informations on the paper, because on the paper it's just the paraphrase. Okay, and last but not least, it is the rule of thumb, which is it can help you a lot in the last minute. You cannot find the answer, so apply this rule. So you use a prediction, you guess the word. So how you can guess the word? You can guess the word based on the grammatical words. So the grammatical word to fit in that gap. Let's say you have a sentence and you have to complete one word in that gap. So try to guess what part of speech that can be fit in that gap. So it can help you a lot, whether it is a noun, it's a verb, it is an adjective to fit in that gap. So what word, and try to guess, because if you cannot catch up with the answer, or you can use the content word, which is the word in the sentence between the gap. So when you cannot find the exact answer, you miss the listening, you miss that information, don't freak out, okay? Because the last tip can help you a lot. First, you need to think about the grammar structure, what part of speech that can be complete here. And the second one, use the informations already in your paper and try to guess what word should be put here. Okay, it will help you a lot. All right, so these are the 3 simple tips, but without practice, you might get nothing. This tip helped me a lot in my university life, but it not just take one day to master all of this. It takes practice, 1 year or 2 years trying to do a lot of listening exercise, so that it will be easier to get these 3 tips work. Okay, so everyone, because as I said, you need to practice. I will prepare the practice exercise in your course book for you to do with me today. So here is the exercise in your book. If you open your book to page 25, you can see this exercise. So what should you do here is to listen carefully and get informations, okay? Get the informations to complete in the gap here. So it is very easy one in your book, because they give you the word list here in the box, and there are 6 words and there are 6 gaps here to complete as well. So without any further
Unit 5. Studying in the U.S. Where to live.
Where to live. This is the VOA Special English Education Report. March Madness is the name for the busy championship season in American college basketball. But March also means another kind of madness: the nervous wait for admissions letters from colleges and universities. This week, in our Foreign Student series, we jump ahead to the subject of where to live. Housing policies differ from school to school. Some schools have limited housing or none at all. Dormitory buildings might house a small number of students or many hundreds. Some dorms have suites. A suite has several bedrooms, a common area, and a bathroom. Other dorms have rooms along a common hallway. 2, 3, or 4 students might share a room. Males and females often live on different floors of the same building, or they might live on the same floor, or in some cases, even share a suite if permitted. But single-sex housing is usually also available. Different groups and organizations, such as fraternities and sororities, might have their own houses where their members live. And there is often housing for married students. Some dorms are nice, others are not so nice. But many students say they like the chance to make friends and be near their classes. Cost is another consideration. Dorms can cost less than off-campus housing, but school-owned housing can also cost more, though the price may include meals. Here are some questions to ask before making a decision. How much privacy can a student expect? Will the school provide a single room if a student requests one? Will the school provide a special diet if a student needs one? And are any dorms open all year so international students can have a place to stay during long vacations? Kirsten Kennedy, housing director at the University of South Carolina in Columbia, says all first-year undergraduates there have to live in a dorm. After that, they are free to seek other housing. Students can apply to become resident assistants after living in the dorms for a year. International students can also apply to become resident assistants after a year in the dorms. Working as a resident assistant in student housing is one way to help finance an education. At many schools, RAs earn money as well as get their room and meals for free or at a reduced price. And that's the VOA Special English Education Report, written by Nancy Steinbach. Our Foreign Students series is online at voaspecialenglish.com.
Okay, so as you can see, the audio is very long. It's around 3 minutes. But when you summarize the informations, these are the important informations. There is a very short paragraph here. So everyone, let's start checking the answer. So number 1, every school has a different housing policy, but the choices are usually similar. So this one, a dormitory can be small or large. Some have suite with bedroom, a common room, and a bathroom. Others have room where up to 4 students live along a common hallways. Men and women might live on separate floors or the same floors. Students like dorm because they can make friends and be closer to school. Most undergraduates stay in dorm the first year then look for other housing. Students can also become resident assistants. They can earn money and get free housing and meal. Sure, everyone, all this information you cannot hear exactly in the listening. Okay, the sentence, the phrases you cannot exactly get from the listening, but you listen for the information because these are the paraphrase version of those listening script. Okay, so pay attention to the informations and the keyword only to get these informations. So everyone, that's it for the first video sessions, and I will see you again in the second video. So goodbye.